Back here with our Browns crew on the Orange and Brown Talk post game. Doug Lesmerises, got Patsko, Dan Labbe, Ashley Bastock, Kay Cabot. Browns, hold on, 24-22. Kay Cabot, what are you taking away from this win?
You know, I think one of the biggest takeaways for me from this victory is the fact that the offense does need to, as Baker talked about after the game, keep the foot on the gas in situations like this. They finally got some things going offensively, and then they weren't able to score a point in the second half. And, you know, I think they're going to beat the Raiders next week, but not every game is going to be easy down the stretch. They're going to need to score some points. They're going to need to keep it up. This was the 8th time in the last 10 games that the Browns offense has scored 17 points or fewer. So I think that Baker has a point, although once again, I'm never a big fan of a player questioning a game plan. I think that has a tendency to possibly become divisive. But I do agree with the fact that they need to continue to be very aggressive.
Ashley Bastock, what you got?
My biggest takeaway is I just feel like this defense has kind of turned a corner at the perfect time. And I know on our podcast during the bye week, I mentioned like they're only a few weeks off of that New England game where, you know, you have them saying the Patriots do everything that we were having trouble with, that it's like they looked at all of those things and just implemented them in that game. But I really think this defense right now is playing its best football at the most crucial time of the season. And you really don't have to look any further than that final Ravens drive there where things felt really perilous. And then you get big plays from Denzel Ward, Jadeveon Clowney, obviously Myles Garrett throughout the game. Takk McKinley made some really big plays. So I really feel like this defense is delivering, even though the offense, you know, we saw it again today, some adversity still. They scored more points than they have in recent weeks, but this defense is going to be tough down the stretch. And I like their confidence from all the guys we heard from post game as well.
Scott Patsko, what do you think?
My takeaway is they won, period. They had to, period. Like we're past the point of style points mattering. It's just at this point, you just got to win. And they did it in a week when they had to change a lot of what they do. You saw a lot of 2 running back formations out there. You saw extra linemen. I mean, they just had to get it done and figure out a way to get it done. And they came up with a plan that worked. Beyond that, there was a point in the second quarter where I found myself on Pro Football Reference looking up a 2016 game where the Browns led 20-0. That game, if you remember, they were about to kick a 2-point, or they're about to kick an extra point, and it gets blocked, run back for 2 points, and things just fell apart, and they lost. So after I looked that up, Baker Mayfield throws an interception. The Ravens turned it into a field goal, and I really thought that we were about to relive something here. And in the end, we kind of almost did. So there is a lot of validity to the fact that this team has had trouble closing out teams, but they won. And I think you close the book here and you just try to figure something out next week too.
Dan Labbe?
2 things. First, Justin Tucker is the scariest presence in all of professional football. No, there's no one in professional football anyone is more scared of than Justin Tucker. But the other thing is kind of what Scott was saying. If this exact game happened on January 16th, we'd be talking about how resilient the Browns were. And I can't believe they won this game and they're moving on to the divisional round. And Scott's right. That's sort of the point where we are in the season. You know, the Steelers lost this week. The Ravens have lost 2 in a row. There's a lot of teams out there that should be winning and making playoff pushes, and they aren't winning. You know, Buffalo lost to New England. And as we're recording this video, they were getting beat up by the Bucs. So you're kind of to the point in the year where it might not be pretty. And we're going to spend a lot of time dissecting this game as we should, because there's 4 games left. But at some point, just winning a football game matters more than anything. And that's what the Browns did today.
So I'll agree with one of the things Dan said and disagree with one. One is everybody's falling apart, right? The Bills are looking terrible today. The Bengals are looking awful against the 49ers. The Chiefs are returning to the Chiefs. The Patriots, we saw what the Patriots did to the Browns. But other than those 2 teams, nobody in the AFC is without major flaws, right? So all the Browns don't have to be great. They have to just sort of get out of their own way a little bit. And they can sort of be right there with anybody who's like 3 or 4 through 7 in the AFC. But the second thing is, I know what you guys are saying, like you just got to win, but I agree with Mary Kay. It's like, well, Yeah, you got to win, but every game is also a lens into the future. And if they don't put games away better than this, they're going to lose to the Packers, or Joe Burrow's going to come back on them and win a game in the last game of the season to keep them out of the playoffs. Like, they have to get better at this. So yes, I get it. A win is a win, but they used to be a team that was like, oh, let the Browns get a lead and they'll put you away. They don't put anybody away anymore. They hang on for dear life. And that is a thing that you have to take away from this, because it's going to keep them out of the playoffs. Like, that's what's going to happen. Do you trust this team with a 4-point lead on Joe Burrow with 8 minutes to play on the last weekend of the year? I don't. Not right now. Not the way they're playing right now. Not with, can they get a drive offensively to put a game away? So you have to keep that in mind. But yes, if they didn't find a way to win, their season would have been over. Listen to the Orange and Brown Talk podcast. We'll get into all of this more. Make sure you're reading cleveland.com/Browns. We appreciate you guys making us part of your Browns coverage. For Mary Kay, Ashley, Scott, and Dan, I'm Doug. Catch you guys later.